Greetings, Mr. Bonnet. I hope that's your last name. You know what? You're absolutely right too. And about my face being up there, and I had a little bad experience with my face being up there. Really, didn't nobody believe that a black male would be so into politics and so into this and so into that, and had a outlook on politics and just the world for what it is. And I've been out in the world. I'm glad you asked me about income and equality. I hope you're talking about the way things are distributed. It's a lot of inequalities. There's justice in inequality. There's racial inequality. But I hope you're just thinking about, how can we fix it? How can we solve it? And I apologize to you. Warren, he's been asking me questions for a while. Matter of fact, he the one that's got me started because, he asked me, I wanted to run for president, and he asked me, okay, what would you say if somebody asked you this question? And he asked me a question. I was like, man, wow, I never thought of that because that's not an issue that I deal with, that being down here in society. But I'm glad you asked me. And I called him intelligent, and I took my face off because basically, come on, I'm a black male. What does the world think of us? That's why no one would ask me questions, And all I did was wanted somebody to ask me if I was running for president, what would I do? And you said something about selling my ideas. I mean, if I can get the material for free, I give it away for free. But a lot of my inventions and a lot of my technology, I can't buy the material for free. And I just wouldn't, sell it to the American people. I'll make sure the idea is made in America and make sure it's sold out of America. Because, China, they just don't respect copyright laws. You know what I'm saying? I remember, growing up seeing a pair of shoes look like Jordans and they was really Swardens. They just take things and just mix it all around. But anyway, income and equality, how can it be fixed? And I guess you're talking about the way things are distributed. The only way people can make the same income, and I would love to see the people make the same income, but it's just impossible. It ain't going to happen. It's only one way to fix it, and that's education. You know what I'm saying? And reason why I say education, because I've been through a lot of states and living in a lot of different environments, basically the black environment, you know what I'm saying, or the poor environment, whatever you want to call it, the ghetto. And I went through a suburb school and an inner city school, and I see how education was distributed a little different. You know what I'm saying? Being in an inner city school, I saw one of my buddies, he had a book that he got from the library. You know what I'm saying? And it was the same book. It was the same book his uncle, you know what I'm saying, rented out. Matter of fact, they just glued over top of, when you rent out books, you sign your name. And it was so many pages, that the book was rented out so many times. This was like back in '63, his uncle rented a book. But this was like the '80s, when he rented out the book when I was in the inner city schools. I went to a suburb school, and I see how education is distributed a little different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody do not have the same education. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to get into it. And reason why I say how income and equality can be fixed through education. Go to a suburb school, man, books are clean and, hallways clean. The intercom fixed, have better lunches. And it's because, what parent is distributing. I mean, if you're the government and you hear about a kid that's running wild, robbing people, selling drugs, but don't every kid in the inner city does that, but you're up on top, that's your perception. Then you hear about the suburb school, well, the parent works for IBM and the parent, has a good salary, they pay their taxes, but the inner city school, the mother's on welfare. So that's when I say education is not distributed, equally, because when the people up on top just don't feel as though, I don't know why, I ain't getting into it, but education is a part, of fixing, income inequality. You know what I'm saying? Now, for example, you gotta go into a person's past. You gotta have some kind of psychology. You gotta invest your mind in understanding their human behavior and stuff. So you have an individual that has a $10 job, and they mop floors, they clean up. Then you have another individual that makes $100. They fix computers, blah blah blah. They make $100 an hour. Then you have maybe a billionaire or a millionaire that makes $1 billion an hour, $1 million an hour. Go back into them people education, but not just their education. Go back into the parents. What was in my home was politics, the economy. My father was a politician. My mom's worked for Wall Street Journal, delivered the papers. And you probably like, well, why do you travel on the same route? I just made a mistake and I got caught up. A mistake is what one does when he or she is a human being. Some people are caught and some people not. So what it was, I made a mistake, got caught up in them streets. And, when rap came out, hip-hopping and everything, when it was a crime just to say that if you was black. But anyway, let's get back into the parents. Whatever the mother and father know, they're going to pass on down to the kids. You see what I'm saying? So that person that's making that $10 an hour, what are their mother and father passing on down to them? You know what I'm saying? I try to pass on down to my son education, the law, and the Constitution, and you better read up on it because that's what my father passed on down to me, and the history of things. You know what I'm saying? Now, my kids are Asian, white, black, Hawaiian, Filipino. They all mixed up. So there's no way I'm going to pass my racial issues down onto them. And my resentment and my hates, I don't tell my kids. You can ask, like the police has done mad things to me, but I don't pass them resentment on down to them because I don't think, my grandmother, she was Cherokee Indian. I don't think, she told me stories, but I don't think she was when she told me these stories, I saw how upset she was, and I took on that anger, but I don't think she meant to do that, but so I was angry for her. So, but I learned from her not to pass it on down to my sons and my kids. So my kids grow up now, they 11 and 9. I have four kids, I have 4 kids, and my kids are just happy because I don't pass on down resentment and hate. But back to the person with the $10 job, right? You gotta look what their parents are passing on down to them. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the parent knows, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna pass on down to the kid. You know what I'm saying? And, maybe that kid might be lucky and might, I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to do this. But, once again, some kind of education has to be passed on down to the kid, just like any kind of awareness. Like, if you look out here today, there's no music that awares people. There's no commercials that give people insight. There's no nothing. And that's what my campaign does. Every commercial that I have, no matter what it is, it's going to educate you in some kind of way. Like, I will show Mr. Bonnet how important prostate cancer is by getting checked up. I have a commercial like that I did for Howard University. Okay, now, let's get back into the parents. Let's get back into income inequality, the person with the $10 job. Now, let's get back to the person with the $100 job that fixes computers. Maybe what was in their house was technology, and the father told the kid, to get into a job that'll pay you a lot, and if you want to make money, look what that mother and father might know, So you kind of got to look into what was passed on down to the kid. Now, the billionaire, I know a female billionaire that's out there now. She was once a news anchor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I checked out her past, her resentment, and her hates. That's why I noticed how she never does nothing for the black male. But anyway, she's a billionaire now. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta look at what kind of field that you're in. You know what I'm saying? And how can you, move on in that field? You know what I'm saying? So the $10 person paying $10, the $100 person that's getting paid $100, and the person that's getting paid $1 millionaire, you gotta look into their education. Look into their mother and the father. Look what's being passed down to them. So I hear other people how to fix the income inequality, and they say if you raise taxes, if you let smaller business people do this, if you contribute this much money to people. Okay, yeah, that's true. But what kind of education do them people have? See, it all starts back to education. It all starts back to what the mother and father know. So once again, how can you fix it? You ask me how to fix income inequality? Through education. That's how you fix it. I know I ran on saying other things, but income inequality, you can fix it through education. By educating people the same. You know what I'm saying? Stop looking at the inner city like everybody sell drugs or everybody is on drugs or everybody's committing a crime. I'm talking to my government now. And you look into people that's contributing, that's paying their taxes. Okay, well, we're going to put this into the school. Stop looking at one kid, thinking every kid is like that, and stop looking into the suburbs, because I'm going to tell you something, man. I go to a center, right? You know what I'm saying? Where it's people that's recovering off of drugs, and they got to take doses of medicine. I think it's only 2 black people there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else, they white. You know what I'm saying? Or Spanish. And I kind of got to look into why they're there. You know what I'm saying? And I say, when you grew up, was the schools like this? Because my kids, the schools pressure them so much. Like, my kid is 5 years old. The teacher tells my kid that he's immature for his age. My little man, 5 years old, he go around saying dookie, pee-pee. I mean, come on. What do you expect? He's 5 years old. My kid's immature. He's only knows certain words. I mean, come on. To be 5 years old, what kind of words do? If he know words that I don't know, I'm kind of get like, okay, how'd you know that word? You know what I'm saying? And that's good that you know that word. But don't step out of your character as a kid where you feel as though you can't have fun and play. And I look at all the white people that's in that drug habit, and it all started how their parents tried to pressure them into making sure you got this, making sure you do that, making sure this is done. And I don't pressure my kid. My kid came home with a 70. I said, that's good, but you know you can do better. But if you can't do better, just study it over. But, you know, if you get a 70, that's still good because you're trying, but you can get 100, you know. But anyway, back to your question. You know, income inequality can be fixed through education. I told you why. You got to look into a person's past, and you got to look how education is being distributed. Thanks, Mr. Bonnet, for listening.